Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee. It is Tuesday, I think. It's after the holidays, who knows? Things started a little late today. We had a ton of snow. If you live where there is snow, you will understand when I say that walking through sometimes knee-deep snowdrifts will take more time. Still got the kids to school this morning. My tiny one who had the waist-deep snow, she did really, really well. Older one did really, really well. It's a nice long walk. It was good deep snow, so that's why things were a little on the later side. We did get to school on time, but we also left early. So that's a thing, and it says that it's going to continue to snow for another almost 2 hours. I'll believe it when I see it. Will the snow end? Probably not. Realistically, probably not. So let's see here. I should share my screen and we can find something to look at. There we go. Okay. I had somebody in the Schipul channel was asking about the price of Schipul, and it's on Alcor. So if I go over to Alcor and look at the markets, I can find Schipul in all the places. And there's the price of Schipul. Schipul is currently very affordable. Perhaps I should buy some Schipul. That means I need to connect something here. I'm going to buy some Schipul because why not? That's a thing I can do. I have the wax. So I'm going to go to here. And I want to buy some Schipul. How much do I want? I want to, well, actually, let's do it this way. So if the price is, what are people selling it for here? Oh, that's a lot being sold for cheap. I'm going to use that price. How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then those numbers are 1, 9, 6. And they're selling 16 million of it, so that's good. And I want to spend, let's say, how much does 10 wax get me? Oh, that's quite a bit. Oh no, it's only 5 million. Okay, so I could spend 20 wax, get 10 million Schipul, and be a shillionaire. All right, give me some Schipul. Because it is the new year and Schipul's going to start Schipuling real soon. So I want to be prepared and make sure that I have some. And by Schipul's going to start Schipuling, I mean we're going to start doing some Schipul-y charity type stuff. Ooh, new backdrop. Yes, Chris has noticed. It's a shower curtain. Super nothing fancy, but like affordable and stuff. So that's a thing. New backdrop, new year. It is, my basement. I hang out here in the basement. And if anybody saw Stretchy Saturday, you'll know that my basement is not super pretty. It's 112 years old, 113 years old, and stone foundation and super not finished. I mean, I've got lights and stuff. I'm happy. And it's not a dirt floor. So for a 100-year-old house, I'm doing pretty well. But it's not something I want everybody staring at behind me. And all my storage is down here and stuff, and you don't need to stare at my stuff. You don't need to know how much toilet paper I hoard. Anyway, let's see here. It is Tuesday after the new year. Maybe there's some news. So let's find out. Is there news today? Let's see. Ooh, this looks clickbaity. It's my choice to what? I don't want choices. I want that pop-up to go away. Okay, let's see here. Whistleblower warns baffling illness affects growing number of young adults in Canadian province. Several cases in New Brunswick involve caretakers of those afflicted, suggesting a possible environmental trigger. What is it? Young adults are developing troubling symptoms, including rapid weight loss, insomnia, hallucinations, and limited mobility. Oh, And it's New Brunswick. Well, that's crappy. And but why the whole whistleblower thing? Like this, I think I've heard about this. So, baffled experts for more than 2 years, and it is affecting a growing number of young people and causing swift cognitive decline. Okay. Cases are growing, and young adults with no prior health triggers are developing a catalog of troubling symptoms: rapid weight loss, insomnia, hallucinations, difficulty thinking, and limited mobility. Okay, well, that does sound crappy. So, now what? 48 cases are under investigation. That's actually quite a bit. Yeah, New Brunswick doesn't have a ton of people, so that's quite a bit. Could be as many as 150 people with a backlog of cases still requiring further assessment. 2 people in close contact without genetic links have developed symptoms suggesting environmental factors may be involved, or is it contagious? Right? So who knows? A man who is developing symptoms of dementia and ataxia. Okay. His wife suddenly began losing sleep and experiencing muscle wasting, dementia, and hallucinations. And another caregiver. Brain imaging showed advanced signs of atrophy. That part's interesting, but what causes it? The province in January is widely expected to announce that the cluster of cases, first made public last year after a memo was leaked to the media, is a result of misdiagnoses, which have mistakenly grouped unrelated illnesses together. Maybe. It's interesting, but I don't know. This is bizarre. Okay. They're saying that certainty is only obtained after the patient dies and brain tissue can be tested. There's a lot of interesting here, because it doesn't fit in known profiles of illnesses. In October, officials suggested that the 8 fatal cases were misdiagnosed and the victims had died of known and unrelated pathologies. Okay. Neurological illnesses are rare in young people. Yes. So, yeah. Province said that there is no suggested significant evidence of any known food, behavioral, or environmental exposure that could explain the illness. Okay. Then they interviewed a person whose father died after the onset of mental confusion, rapid deterioration. Pathologist said he died of Alzheimer's. Well, I don't. They want him tested for neurotoxins, which some have suggested could be the culprit behind the illness. Okay, well, if they're suggesting it's the culprit, why aren't they investigating where it comes from and trying to fix it? Or are they? High concentrations of that particular neurotoxin were found in lobster. Okay. So only rich people who can afford lobster can get the disease? Because issues. If you get it from touching the lobster, maybe then you get the exposure. Like, how is it absorbed? Do you have to eat the lobster? Because if you have to eat the lobster, that's for rich people. then it would not affect a widespread group of people. It would affect people who can afford lobster. Lobster is not cheap. So maybe you get it from touching it or breathing it, or who knows. Ooh, they need the province to order the testing. Okay. The province still has the remains, and they've asked for toxicology to be done, but they're not. Testing is more difficult than the public realizes, probably because it's a very specific neurotoxin, and they might not even have the capability to actually test for it. So that's the thing. You're also talking about they said it was a rural area, so they would have to go to some sort of a provincial lab. And if the provincial lab doesn't have the capability to do the testing, then they're looking at sending it to the national lab. And at that point, it is a bit of a big deal. Maybe it's worth it. I don't know. A whole bunch of people are getting sick. Maybe it's really worth it. They want full research. How much are elevated levels of a neurotoxin compared to the rest of the public? And when does that become a cause for concern? Well, then if you're sampling the rest of the public, not only do you have to sample everyone who lives in the area where this thing is supposedly an issue, but then you have to have a control group from somewhere else where if you're guessing it's a toxin that comes from, say, lobster, maybe you test a bunch of people over in Saskatchewan where we don't have lobster unless it flies in. So that's a thing. So that's a big study. There's a report due in January written by the province's oversight committee, which will determine if it's a thing. Well, how can they determine if it's a genuine neurological illness instead of misdiagnosis if they're not going to study it and do some tests and stuff and try to figure out where it's coming from? I don't know. Maybe they are doing all those things. This is really clickbaity, and I'm going to argue it's poorly written. But if the government is trying to push it under the rug, then maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Changes with a certain clinic. And there's not enough information in this piece. I have to go soon because I have a meeting. Today is a short day, but there is definitely not enough information in this news piece to. I would not have published it. I would have asked more questions and demanded better answers and tried to talk to the other side. It's not that this is terrible, but it's a whistleblower. But somebody maybe should have talked to, I don't know, the committee doing the thing, or if there is like whoever's writing this report that's going to come out in January, they should have been talked to. And the business about changing jobs at a clinic or possibly being shut down, that's not. It is and it isn't relevant. It's both. They obtained some documents through Freedom of Information requests, which shows they did do some research, but they didn't talk to the government. I don't know, like this, what bothers me is that there's nothing here saying they tried to talk to the government. And for me writing this, you have at least a line saying officials with the province were contacted and they declined to comment or something along those lines, so that people know you made the effort. Yeah, this needs a lot more research. Anyhow, that was fun. So there's a mysterious illness in New Brunswick, and they're wondering about a neurotoxin, which could be interesting. And the question I have is, where does that neurotoxin come from? So what is the name of it again here? BMAA. It's found in lobster. Does it get into the lobster? Oh, look at that. There's a study from Sweden. Okay. Potential neurotoxin. Potential. Okay, so they don't know either. When was this published? 2015. Oh, so this is not new. Oh boy. Associated with the aquatic environment. So, okay. Needs more investigation, including a risk assessment regarding the consumption of the things that have it. Okay. Public health risks through consumption of food have been frequently discussed topics in recent years, and then there's a bunch of stuff that they've cited. Look at that. Okay, so it was initially reported to be produced by prokaryotic cyanobacteria. That sounds familiar, actually, but during the past year, several studies have suggested new sources of production by eukaryotic organisms such as diatoms and dinoflagellates. Okay. It has an assumed connection to ALS and Parkinson's, which was noticed in Guam. The indigenous population has a higher incidence of symptoms of all these things compared to populations in other areas, and the traditional food has high levels of the neurotoxin. Could be related. Correlation is not necessarily causation, however. Okay, so this exists, this study. This took me 2 seconds to find, and it wasn't in the news piece. So, and then of course there are questions. Is it causing a thing? Okay, but I found science in 2 seconds from searching with a really random question. How does it get into the lobster? So, again, I don't think that news did its job. If it were me writing this, I would be saying, yes, this was something that was studied by, Swedish researchers back in 2015, and it's not a new thing. If it's showing up in New Brunswick, then whatever causes the bacteria is traveling. And before they did their study, it was a known issue in Guam. So is there a connection? Probably. Maybe not, but probably. Should it be investigated? Probably. Is it a public health issue? Probably. So, yeah, that changes my perspective considerably, and hopefully that's useful to everybody who's looking at that and wondering about it. So, fish, I guess. I don't know. This is a whole other question that I don't have time to answer here because I have a meeting to go to. But is it possible to source fish that doesn't have those toxins? And the answer is probably going to be farmed fish. So that's for you to look up. I haven't eaten fish in a long time because one of my household members has a lethal allergy to it. So there you go. On that happy, joyful note, see you all tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful Tuesday and don't get stuck in the snow.